We know that learners of English increasingly use this language in their spare time. And according to research, this is beneficial to learners' general language proficiency and vocabulary learning, for example. But what about grammar? To what extent do teachers believe that spare time English helps learners acquire grammar? In a study that I carried out with Pia Sundqvist, we asked over 500 upper secondary school teachers what they believe to be the effect of learners' spare time English on different areas of language learning. And they reported that the effect of spare time English on learners' reading skills, listening skills, and speaking skills is a very positive one. On the other hand, they were less optimistic when it comes to learners' grammar knowledge, writing skills, as well as formal language use. In another study that I carried out with Marion Coumel, we asked 20 lower secondary school teachers in France, Austria, and Sweden the same question. So, to what extent they believe that grammar can be learned through spare time English. In France, teachers were generally rather pessimistic. In Austria, on the other hand, some teachers observed that those students who use English in a rather native-like way, they're also the ones who use English extensively in their spare time. On the other hand, some teachers observe that grammar cannot really be learned through activities such as watching audiovisuals and gaming because of the fast pace of language in those types of media. If spare time English is not used as widely in a given population, then its effect on grammar learning, of course, cannot be as visible. And this still seems to be the case among lower secondary learners in Austria and in France. Now, what about countries where spare time use of English is relatively high? In Sweden, the 7 teachers contended that grammar acquisition through spare time English is possible, at least to a certain degree, and that the extent to which this is possible depends on, first of all, the amount and type of spare time English use, secondly, the learner's ability to learn implicitly, and thirdly, the grammatical feature at hand, so that it, for instance, works quite well with irregular verbs because those features are salient in the input and they occur frequently. So teachers contended that, in the Swedish context, that grammar acquisition through spare time English is possible to a certain extent, and then after that, students could start working on grammar rules. And at the same time, Swedish teachers believe that it is best to wait until students themselves express the interest in grammatical features and their underlying rule, because if grammar is taught explicitly too early, then students may develop anxiety and have a lack of self-confidence when using the language. Now, why do those beliefs matter? So it seems that spare time English aids grammar acquisition, at least partially, and the implications are twofold. Let us first consider countries like Austria and France, where spare time English is not yet as high but growing. And in such a context, it might be beneficial for teachers and learners to be aware of the potential that spare time English holds for grammar acquisition. When, on the other hand, considering learners who use a lot of English in their spare time, they perhaps need more support on grammar and on formal language use or writing skills. And to some extent, Swedish teachers already seem to account for this in their teaching. At the same time, when focusing on those more formal aspects of language, then it might be difficult to keep up the learner's motivation in class. So ideally, a focus on grammar or on writing could be embedded in material that learners find interesting and that they could relate to, such as social media texts. But now that we know about teacher beliefs as to the impact of grammar on students' grammar knowledge, what is the veritable effect? Please check out my next video.